I want to welcome you to the Engineer Your Success podcast. My name is Dr. James Bryant, your host for today's show. Today's show, we're going to be talking about a message or a topic that is near and dear to me, and that's marketing and messaging. But before we get to the marketing and messaging, I want to talk about the Success On Ramp. The Success On Ramp is our complimentary event that we have every month where a group of like-minded people get together to achieve their goals, to talk about the things that they are overcoming, to share your big wins, the wins that you've had in your life and your career. This is the place where you share. We cover topics like overcoming procrastination, the things that you need to do to move into building better habits, building the life that you want. These past few months, we've been focused on building your vision. So we started in August with the building your vision, the first kind of entry into that. And I talked about the importance of building your vision. We talked about building a vision board. I provided an example of my vision board. So I showed all the different things that are really on my board to achieve in the next 5 to 10 years, and encouraged the participants to build their own vision boards. And it has absolutely been amazing, all of the feedback that I'm getting back from the participants about the vision boards that they have been able to build. And it's pretty cool when you see an example of something done, it gives you permission to actually do it. So there've been people that put a certain car on their vision board, or a certain type of house or investment or a certain thing that they wanted. And they're starting to see some of those things come to fruition as they are working to be that person. And it's pretty cool just to watch how it all unfolds. So the next session is going to be tonight from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. The Success On Ramp. There's going to be a link in the show notes. Register. We're going to be talking about building your vision again. This month, folks are going to be sharing their vision boards. They've shared it with me, but now it's their time to share it with the group. And if you are really ready to be inspired, if you're ready to see people that are building a life, building a vision for life that's much bigger than where they are right now, you do not want to miss tonight's session. So we're going to be talking about building your vision tonight, and again for the on-ramp session in October, when we're going to wrap up this series on building your vision. You can use the link in the show notes to register for the event and come join and get inspired. Okay. So over this week and the next 4 weeks, we're going to be talking about marketing and messaging. So today's episode is really focused on the ability to clarify your message to the point where if you have 60 seconds to tell someone the value proposition or the problem that your company or product solve, that you will be able to concisely do that. Kind of an anti-title is what you need to actually lead with to grab the attention of your audience. And I think this applies to both your personal brand and your company's brand. It applies to personal communications and company communications. It really depends on kind of what you're communicating, but it's really looking at it from the perspective of what is in it for the person that I'm communicating to when I put together this message. So this is going to be the first of 4 episodes that are dealing in the marketing space. So over the next 3 weeks after this week, we're going to feature interviews from 3 incredible women business owners that are in the marketing space. First, we have Karen Morgan. She is the owner, lead strategist, and content creator at Automation Consulting. So Karen spent the first half of her 20 plus years of her engineering career as a project engineer and a project manager on rail and roadway design. And so now Karen is in the marketing space, and she's helping engineering firms write proposals to win more work. She does a lot of work with companies that are working to submit proposals to state departments of transportation, but she also does work that's beyond that. And so her interview is going to be coming up next week. Then after that, in 2 weeks, we're going to have Kate DiLeo. So Kate is a brand strategist who's partnered with more than 200 organizations, right, to craft messages that bring more prospects to the table, more users who click, and more customers who buy. And Kate also has a best-selling book called Muting the Microphone, Stop Telling Stories and Start Having Conversations. And so it's a fascinating discussion with Kate as she talks through the process of building a brand. She also talks about her experience working with companies in the construction space. Uh, then we have Sarah Banowetz, who is the founder and managing partner of Banowetz Marketing. Banowetz Marketing helps small businesses see their dreams come to reality. So Banowetz Marketing is a longtime sponsor of this podcast, and I'm really excited for you to hear more about Sarah's journey, about her journey as an entrepreneur, about some of the initiatives that Banowetz Marketing is putting together to help small and medium-sized businesses really accelerate their growth. So why are we talking about marketing? James, what does this have to do with increasing my capacity to lead or making me a better communicator? Or what does this have to do with developing, leadership or personal development? When I talk about this podcast, when we developed this podcast, it really was to provide tools and tips and techniques to help you succeed in business and in life. And really learning to tell your story or to talk about your product in the way where you can grab the attention of the people that are listening, I think that's really critical for sustained success in your business. And it's sustained success whenever you are really looking to work on communication. And so it's important to me. I'll tell you kind of my journey into the marketing space. And that was a few years ago. I went through some training to get some business coach certification. So as part of that certification, one of the things that we went through was the building a story brand marketing framework. And so this framework is built around inviting your customers into a story where your customer is the hero. So your company is the guide that comes alongside the hero and helps them go on this epic quest. Now, there's several pieces of the framework, but essentially you're trying to understand the hero, the problem that they're trying to solve, and how you as a company or an individual are uniquely fitted to help them solve their problem, to equip them with the ability to solve their problem. So I think that the marketing framework does a really good job of reminding you that it's not really about you. It's not really just about your product, but it's about your customer and the issues that your customer face and the customer's view of your product. So, I took the training, I've applied it to my own business. I've looked to help friends, but I'm just going along doing my thing. But then a few years ago, I was also asked to serve on the board of a growing engineering technology company. And in that role, as a board member, we provided input on future planning, operations, and some support on marketing and messaging, and just in terms of providing review and comments. And for me, this is where things really started to come together, where I can see where with my technical background, and also with the business coach training and with the emphasis on marketing and understanding that we have to be able to invite our customers in, making them the hero, and that it's not about us. This is where a lot of things started to come together for me. So like most companies that are founded and run by engineers or people with a science, technology, and engineering background, all of the marketing materials were about how great the product was and the technologies that they developed to power those products. But there was not much in the way of those materials that actually talked about the actual problem that they solved for their customer, right? So it would be, we have this technology, it measures this, but it doesn't really get into the problem that is solving for the customer. So during our discussion, I really continue to ask the question, is that what problem does this solve for your customer? And how is the customer going to receive value by engaging with your brand, by using your product? What's really going to be in it for them? And we talk about that when we talk about developing great presentations, about being able to provide a presentation and present it from their perspective, the people that you're presenting it to, like what are they going to be able to get out of it? But that's really how you have to look at your marketing materials. What are they actually going to get out? Are they going to get out of it that you have 500 things on your list or features or benefits that you're going to provide? Or are they going to get out of it that you're going to save them time? You're going to save them money. You are going to make life easier for them. You're going to reduce the friction from where they are to where they want to go. Those are the kinds of things. I know it may sound oversimplified, but you have to think things in that way and then be able to craft it in terms that is still true to the solution that you provide. And so once you understand the problem that you're solving from the customer's perspective, then you start to agitate the problem in your marketing materials and you present your brand and your product as the premier solution, really the only solution to that problem within the context of those materials. And so I'm constantly asking these kinds of questions because of my exposure, to marketing, storytelling, and really engaging customers in conversations. And so over the year, I could see subtle shifts in the marketing materials that this particular company that they were developing, which made me think, hey, I think I'm making an impact. Sometimes you don't necessarily know, you think you're making an impact, but it really was confirmed when my tenure on the board was up, my term was up, we were wrapping things up, and the owner of the company was giving his thanks to all of the board members. And he mentioned that there was one board member who had made a monumental impact into their approach. Now, listen, this is a technology company. They're doing cutting edge stuff. And there were a lot of great people, smart, intelligent people that were on the board that were giving suggestions about some of the technology that they were using. I mean, it was really cool and I was honored to be there. And I was absolutely floored when he says, hey, we'd like to thank Dr. James Bryant because he helped to open our eyes to see that we needed to shift how we were talking about our solution so that we could do a better job of describing the problem that we solve for our customer, and then being able to agitate the problem so that we can drive people toward our solution. I mean, for me, it was a great moment in validation that, hey, I am making a difference. Here's a real world example of how I'm making a difference in helping this particular company get their products in front of the people that they need to. So that was pretty cool for me. So another example as to why this really matters, right? Why do I need to get this? And so this is to me, it was a funny example. This summer, I attended the American Association of State Highway Transportation Officials Committee on Maintenance, affectionately known as the MAC, for those of us that are in the highway maintenance area. And so at this annual meeting, there are representatives from across the country. Attendees include state maintenance engineers, consultants, contractors, service providers, everybody and anybody who's involved in highway maintenance, from pavements to bridges to roadsides, snow removal, equipment, you name it, people are there. And so at this meeting, there's normally a time during the opening reception where the vendors and sponsors are provided a time to kind of talk about their company to the whole group. So this is their quote unquote 60 seconds of fame. Of course, their names and their logos are prominently shown and sponsored throughout the venue, but here's where they really get to talk about their message, right? And so think of what you would say about your product or service if you were asked about your company. What would you say? Would you focus on your products and features, about how many widgets you have or how many things the product can do or how great the technology is? Or would you say something that the attendees would actually remember? Because I can guarantee you right now, if you talk about the widgets, you talk about the number of things, people will not remember what you're saying. You will not be memorable. So if you want to say something that is memorable, you need to listen up. Because I watched, right? I was sitting there in the audience and I watched company after company talk about how great their benefits were, how great their companies was, how they used the latest technology, how the accuracy of their technology was this much, and all of these things that they could provide, all of the type of cameras that they use and the superior technology, blah, 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 blah. There was only one company that said something worth remembering. I am not joking. Legitimately, there's only one company that says something that was absolutely worth remembering. And so this one company nailed it. They used their time to describe exactly who they were, what they provided, and why you needed to use the product. So, their solution addressed the problem that they solved and the value that you received in their product. So here's what they said. We're going to call this guy Mike. Hey, my name is Mike. I'm with X company. You may know us at the company that has pothole patching material in a bag. With our product, you patch once, not twice. That's it. It was very simple, but to the point. As he was speaking, he's holding the bag up of the pothole patching material, which you visually now, again, it's a room full of people that are in the highway maintenance area, people in their organization, they're managing people, they may have crews. And so it's really easy doing that quick presentation to imagine your work crew grabbing that bag of material, opening it up, going to fill a pothole and keep on moving. And then not having to worry about that pothole, filling that pothole again. And so when we think about, well, what was the problem that they're solving? A partial answer would be filling potholes. But really, there are a couple of things that they talked about or mentioned that make it the differentiator to me. One, how easily you could hold the bag, how manageable the bag was. So people can actually imagine themselves using the product. So that visual cue was great. But the tagline, when you use our product, you patch once, not twice. That's really telling me that I'm not going to waste time going back to refill that pothole in a busy season where you're having a lot of rain or some other issues that are causing that pavement it's causing the motion and things to move in that pavement for where potholes are going to be occurring, right? You are not going to have to waste time going back to patch that pothole, right? You'll be able to put the patch material in there, keep going, and you have confidence that you're going to have to go back until you're going to mill and resurface that pavement or until the next season when it comes to do potholes. So I thought that was a really cool differentiator. So I've run into the tendency with technical organizations, this is nonprofits, anything dealing with science and technology, where they want to talk about all of the great things that they do and how great they are in all of the technologies that they have, but they don't talk about how they solve the problem for their customers. I've had researchers and looked at presentations where great presentation, a lot of technical stuff, really cool. And then you're thinking, but what would someone use that for? What does it actually do? What problem does it solve for X? And when it's missing, in some ways that's okay from a research perspective, just depending on what you're actually presenting. But if you're presenting for a particular result or a call to action, you're going to have to give the people a reason for action. And part of that reason for action is being able to articulate the problem that you solve. So when I think about this, I typically will ask some very simple questions when I'm doing a quick review or assessment. And does this particular product or company talk about the problem that they solve from their customer's perspective? Or are they just talking about all the benefits and features that they have, when you use their product? Another approach that I look at is the solution that's actually presented, is it presented in the form of solving a technical or engineering problem? Or is that solution presented that really represents the result that the customer will receive by using that product or service? This is not really rocket science. However, many of us get frustrated by the inability to clearly communicate how we're solving the problem for our customers. I was like that very early on. It was hard for me to really communicate what the results of work life balance were going to be. What was I going to focus on? Uh, the first iteration of that was achieving success in business and in life because I thought that really began to encapsulate the result of the services that I offer. And now it's even more simplified because I provide leadership training and coaching services to help you win at work and at home. And so you want to win at work, you want to win at home. I'm the person that you come to. I am the person that can help you in both places. So when it comes to clarifying your message, if you have a technical company, an engineering company, or you have some technical product and you know the intent of the problem that you're trying to solve, but in your marketing materials, it seems to get lost in translation. If you're frustrated and you need help in clarifying your message, then what I want you to do is book an appointment with me and get the help that you need. There's a link in the show notes. Help me clarify my message. And so get on the calendar so you can get the help that you actually need. So I'm going to sign off this week. Remember, you're invited to the Success On Ramp tonight. Tonight's session is on building your vision. Next week's session is next month's session is on building your vision as well. In the next 3 weeks that follows this episode, we're going to be having the marketing related discussions with 3 wonderful women business owners in the marketing space. And that advice that you'll get in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if you include, when you include this one, is really going to help you to grow your business. So I'm going to end this podcast like I end every podcast, and that's this. Many people know what to do. Fewer people know how to do it, and there is a select group of people that actually do it. I am here to help you be part of that select group, to help you move from knowing to doing and from doing to being so that you can live a life that you love. Remember, it's Dr. James Bryant. I'm here to help you win at work and at home, and you have a great